Hello everybody and welcome to episode 1 of the making of Toy Lords of Chinatown, supervillain soap opera, produced, directed, edited, written, and starring myself, the Super Suck Lord. Thanks for watching and thanks for donating your money. Quietly. Now, Toy Lords of Chinatown is one of the most fascinating aspects of the Suckadelic enterprise because it incorporates so many different facets of the
Get down! An important facet because it incorporates so many facets. All I did was look at you, friend, and you fucked up.
Toy Lords of Chinatown is fascinating because it incorporates a lot of disciplines that are... Fuck my whole shit up!
I didn't even look that time. I was packing my joint.
Now, Toy Lords of Chinatown is a fascinating expression under the Suckadelic umbrella because it incorporates all of the disciplines that Suckadelic is known for. During this behind-the-scenes series, we're going to explore different aspects of the production of this incredible, phenomenal underground series. And in this episode, we're going to focus on mask making. Masks and costuming have always been an important part of the Suckadelic lifestyle, and in this episode, we're going to have a little tutorial about how to make a Suckadelic mask out of a cheap piece of shit Halloween costume that you bought off the store rack.
He's doing YouTube tutorials now?
But first, a little history. My interest in mask making and costuming goes back to 1979 when I first experienced early onset Boba Fett obsession. I was kind of a small, nerdy kid, wasn't very confident or bold or anything like that, and something about the character just exuded a confidence and mystery that I was attracted to. Even before Empire came out, just from seeing the holiday special and the Kenner mail-away figure, I knew at like age 10 that this was an important figure that I needed to explore. Weirdly, the anticipation for Star Wars 2 was so great that they put out the Ben Cooper Boba Fett costume a whole year before the movie came out, but I wasn't really satisfied with what came out of the box. So for the first time in my life, I customized the costume. I added tin foil in the back to fill in the helmet, I had these boots and these knee pads, and I made these gauntlets out of cardboard and made a jetpack out of a shoebox. Ironically, the very first mass-produced Boba Fett costume had a silver mask, which was inaccurate, but it makes an interesting bookend to this evolution that ultimately led to the Sucklord 66 costume. Over the next 2 years, I would continue to improve the costume, making my own helmet with a Canal Plastics dome and some die-cut cardboard for the face until I had a pretty good replica of the Boba Fett gear. I would strut around the Greenwich Village Halloween parade in this getup, tossing smoke bombs and pretending to be a badass. I felt transformed by the costume, and I was physically able to muster a confident stance and stride that I couldn't summon as a civilian. The transformative power of the costume stuck with me, and I would go back to it years later in life when I started my business. I put out my first release, Star Wars Breakbeats, in 1997, and needed to go out to conventions and events to promote it. And I wasn't going to go out as Morgan fucking Phillips. I needed some sort of avatar, so I went back to the Fett costume and remade it by adding hip-hop details like a gold chain, fat laces, a turntable backpack. I had a graffiti artist named Andre Charles do all the bounty hunters' names on the helmet, and it was a hit, and it made costuming an integral part of the Suckadelic brand. For Attack of the Clones, I further evolved the costume to look more like Jango Fett. I figured the first version was old school hip hop, so the second version would be more like contemporary hip hop, kind of like a Jay-Z bounty hunter type. I switched the gold to platinum and the fat laces for Air Force Ones, and by the time episode 3 came out, the final Sucklord form would be born. I created the Sucklord 66 figure in a well-documented fuck you to the toy industry, putting a Fett head on a Dooku body and painting it silver. I liked the look, and the idea of the Sith Lord bounty hunter kind of struck me, so I modified the costume to match the figure, and there it was, the Sucklord 66, live and in person. From that point on, he was the official face of Suckadelic, and anyone else I collaborated with also had to have a mask. For DJing, we had the Crystal Pharaoh and Billions and Helmets, and when my toy game started picking up, I looked to other friends as subject material. Spooky Booty and Mary Papers were early examples of friends I wanted to transform into characters. I would take their basic personality traits, super villainify them, hook them up with a store-bought mask that I customized, and would make a figure of them. This is how I built relationships with people back in the day. Pretty much any time you became friends with me in any sort of close manner, you got a mask and became a supervillain in my fantasy world. Finally, when I took it upon myself to start making movies of all these characters, I realized I kinda had a problem with the Sucklord as the principal figure. We were gonna do acting and comedy, and the fact that his face is totally covered made expression for him really limited. Plus, I really thought this show was gonna get picked up by Adult Swim or Comedy Central or something like that, and that a totally derivative, unlicensed Star Wars character wasn't gonna fly. We needed original villains for this show, so I had to create Vector. I just went to the Halloween store, not looking for anything in particular, and grabbed a mask off the rack. And extra points if you can guess what's mask Vector's derivative of. I'm not going to tell you. I cut it up so you could see his eyes and mouth better, gave him sort of like a bug man-like veneer, and set him loose. I had no idea who he was, so I just infused him with all my angst and misanthropy, sort of like as a counterbalance to the image of the Sucklord as this successful megalomaniac. And he just sort of wound up becoming the main character of Toy Lords, probably the second most important character in all of Suckadelic. We did an upgrade of the Crystal Pharaoh to make him slightly less Vader-like and more Egyptian, and we created Baron Dark Owl for Burt Banger, and the original villains were born. Having to go through all these old boxes and find all the old masks that I need for the new episode. Some of the classics are mixed in here with bullshit. I recognize some of these guys. It's the Chinatown Warrior hat. It's really damaged. Suck Troopers, they're not in this episode. What we got here? You might recognize some of these masks from the Occupy Cybertron party we did. Donna Diavolo's. We already shot her part for episode 5. It's really, some of this stuff is just total bullshit. And some of it is like key stuff. Crystal Pharaoh mask here. Yes, there's a spoiler alert that the Necromancer, this is supposed to light up, he's in this episode. And Chinatown Warrior. A lot of these are really fucked up and they gotta be repaired. Alright. Now that you've got a look at some of the masks that we had in the archive, I'm gonna do a little tutorial here to show how we make the masks here at Suckadelic that we use for Toy Lords of Chinatown, and I'm gonna demonstrate some materials that maybe you may or may not know about, but you will find useful. Today, I dug out the Mary Papers mask, famous mask, iconic, and it's been through a little hell and it's a little cracked up, so I'm gonna have to patch this up and fix it using some supplies here. And yes, that's a spoiler that Mary Papers is going to return to Toy Lords of Chinatown, possibly in the upcoming episode. And while I'm at it, I'm gonna reinforce and do some development on this creature mask that I'm customizing. This isn't for Toy Lords per se, this is for the Mermaid Parade at Coney Island, but this is how I do a lot of my mask customizations, and you might fucking learn something, so pay attention. We're gonna do to this mask what's already been done to this mask. You can see this is just like kind of a cheap ass mask from the Halloween store. It's one of those masquerade things, and it's been reinforced in the back. It was just like a kind of a thin papery kind of thing, so it's been reinforced using this incredible stuff that I use called aqua resin. I don't know if I buy this stuff at the Complete Sculptor. I don't know if it's available anywhere else. I think it might be a house brand of our famous sculpture store that we have in New York City, but it can be purchased online. It's sort of like a combination of resin and plaster. It's like a water-based resin. But first, I gotta mix this epoxy up here and do a little gluing inside this mask to just get it where it needs to be before I apply the reinforcement. So just mix the epoxy as such. Never really done one of these demonstrational videos. I hope it's not fucking boring. But you paid for this, so you've got to get some value out of it. Now I'm just going to take a blob of this glue and just sort of liberal, apply it inside and all over the places where the mask's all fucked up, and in the process make it worse before I make it better. Blue tape around it just to kind of hold it in place where it needs to go. Oh shit, fuck. Let's hold it in place like that, and then I'm gonna block it off. If your studio doesn't have any of these weighted metal blocks, then you're fucking hurting yourself. But there we go. Let that set up for a few minutes, and of course I'm gonna clean off the popsicle stick because hey, I don't like to waste. Get this shit the fuck out of here. Alright, so we got this creature mask. Now this is fucking just like a Ben Cooper, this is the cheapest kind of fucking Halloween mask that has the fucking rubber band on the back. I use a lot of these in my villain masks, but I like to customize stuff as well. So what I did to prep this is I spray glued down some newspaper, and then I ran a coat of Mod Podge over it just to make it stick. And now I have this mesh, this like fiberglass mesh that goes with the aqua resin, and I'm going to use that and the aqua resin to reinforce the inside of the mask. But first I'm going to cut it up into a bunch of strips to make it easier to apply. So here you are paying fucking money every month to watch a motherfucker cut shit with the scissors. Anyway, you'll also notice when I put this newspaper on here, I made a point to have it exceed the edge of the mask. And that'll just protect any of the slop from getting on the mask itself, but you're still going to want to have some paper towels handy, just in case you got to clean up. So, alright. Oh, fuck! Jesus! Alright, the fucking aqua resin comes with like a powder and a liquid. I learned how to use this stuff back when I was building dioramas for Hasbro. It's really great. What I usually use it for is like if I carve something out of blue foam, like rocks or anything like that, then I brush it over and it just gives a really nice kind of paintable surface. Don't want it too runny, but you don't want it too thick either. Alright, so there it is. There's a nice paste, and I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to apply it to the paper here. Just do a nice base coat of this stuff. Cover everything. Alright, this stuff cleans up really nice because it's water-based. That's why it's called aqua resin. You fucking idiot. Alright, so now I take the mesh and just sort of push it into the holes here. Fucking phone keeps going off. It can overextend into the eye holes and everything because this shit all gets cut up later once it sets up. This is some of the less glamorous aspects of this process that, for good reason, I don't really ever show people, but I gotta create some fucking content, bro, and this is what I do. So I do a lot of this. It's not all about traveling around the world fucking beautiful women and making a shitload of money. I think in order to get to those places, you gotta do this kind of work too. And now, watch this. This being a kid's mask, it's just a little narrow. It's a little narrow on my face, so if I stick this plexi rod in here and leave it there while the thing sets up, it'll spread the mask out just enough so that my fucking fat face can fit in it. So, okay, we did the little time-lapse video, and actually a couple of fucking days have gone by, and the aqua resin on the back of this mask is clearly finished curing altogether. Turns out I missed the motherfucking mermaid parade. It was Saturday instead of Sunday, and I didn't have the fucking mask ready, and it was fucking raining, and I didn't make it, and fuck me. So I'll have it for next year, but regardless, I'm gonna still continue to finish this demonstration. So now, I'm gonna go in with this X-Acto knife, and I'm gonna cut off the extra hanging bullshit here. The fucking hand off here. Alright. There we go, we got a pretty reasonable edge here. Now I'm just gonna go in with the sandpaper and just sort of clear it up a little bit. Give it a nice smooth edge, take all the schmutz off of it. Okay, that's pretty good. We got a fairly decent clean edge here. And, you know, there's a few little gaps and holes, you know. So we're gonna mix up another batch of resin, and at the same time, we're gonna fucking fix this, Mary Papers mask. Alright, so I want to make a slightly thicker resin this time, so I'm going to put a little less liquid in it. Shit, tapping my whole fucking bag. It's kind of thick enough for this, I think. Put this on. Give this guy, get these fucking blocks out of here. Give this guy just another coat and make sure it drips into the edge. Now I'm going with this sculpting tool. Try to just sort of feed the fucking glop into the little cracks. So it's done. Let's see how this shit came out. I painted the back. Let's try it on. What's up? What's up? It's still a little small, but it'll do. Fuck you. Okay, next on the agenda is getting this Vectar mask fixed. It's not the original mask. It's a reproduction, and when I made it, I didn't do it quite right, and I left too much shit on the top here. You see if I put the hood on, it just sort of lifts up the hood too much, and it doesn't work. So I have to cut it down. And I'm really fucking nervous to have to do this because I don't want to fuck the whole mask up. Okay, so I put a little blue tape around the thing because I don't want to fucking scratch the surface. And now I'm just going to do the best I can to run it on this fucking table saw and hope I don't cut off too much shit. Let's see, I don't want to put too much of it off. Alright, well there it is. I mean, I think that's considerably better. And now, Vectar is ready for action. Okay, and finally for the main event, the fucking Sucklord helmet. By the way, sorry I'm not wearing a shirt, but it's motherfucking hot in here. I know Bob Ross always kept his shirt on, but I'm not motherfucking Bob Ross. Anyway, you all know this helmet. This helmet has been with me for a long time. This has been through thick and thin. I got my dick sucked so many times wearing this helmet. And this helmet has been like fucking fucked up and fixed and repaired and painted. I put this in suitcases and it got squashed fucking flat as a sandwich. And, you know, I've always managed to bring it back. And just when I think I'm fucking sick of this shit and I can't do it again, this doesn't matter to me, it suddenly does. So here I am, at age 48 years old, restoring a fucking glorified Halloween costume so I can go out and fucking make masturbatory, low-budget, shitty movies that nobody watches about fucking my own puerile interests, and if you don't like it, fuck you, you don't have to watch this. Anyway, I'm repairing the helmet. What I did was, when you buy these fucking helmets in the store, there's only like a small band where you can see through, and then the rest of it is just solid black. It looks fucking stupid. So I went in there with the rotary tool and cut it all out. It was horrible because this is like some sort of weird PVC plastic that leaves all the fucking melted fucking plastic boogers as you're cutting. And also, furthermore, when you do that, it fucks up the structural integrity of the helmet. So I had to put these little reinforcements in there. But now the real trick is how to get this fucking this see-through Mylar shit in there and fucking make it look tight. Now this is the old fucking thing, but it's fucking dead. It's fucking trash, so I have to come up with a new one, and I'm nervous because I tend to be fairly incompetent about this kind of stuff. But I have a little tiny bit left of this. See, this stuff is amazing. You can fucking literally see right through it. And so I'm going to just do the best I can to sort of recreate this shape. So I'm going to make it slightly bigger. I can just sort of just give me a rough first, and then I can narrow it down later. Okay. Alright. I'm going to just take out these screws and pull out my little reinforcements. One of the fucking annoying things about New York, which is such a driving factor of this, is that I bought this fucking Mylar on Canal Street like fucking 10 years ago. And this is like all that I have left, in the fucking store that I bought it from doesn't exist anymore. You know, none of this shit exists anymore. It's going to exist for very much longer. So it's like I really gotta fucking... I can't fuck this helmet up again because I don't know where to get this shit anymore. I mean, I'm sure it's available, but... You know, I used to be able to just walk out of my house and buy stuff like this. Just walk down the block and go pick up pretty much anything I fucking needed, and now, not so much. I think the tricky part is trying to cut around these fucking scallop indentations. It's like a really narrow area there, so I think I've got it reasonably placed. As if anybody really needs to see inside here, but I don't know. I'll just sort of commit it with this tape. Let's see if I get it totally right. Use this punch and just punch a tiny hole in this fucking Mylar. This is fucking ridiculous. Now I'll just get the screw back in, fit it through, shit, and hope for the fucking best, and don't stick it through your fucking finger if you can help it. Don't forget the top. About 15 to 18 different people played the suckward in various incarnations. Cosby was the main one most of the time in a good portion of the Toy Lords videos. It's usually Cosby in there, although tons of people have fucking played him, and I still continue to play him myself when he's the only one in the scene. If Vectar's in the scene somewhere else, but I don't see Vectar right now, so.
Alright bitches, I'm back. Thanks for watching the making of Toy Lords of Chinatown. My name is the Sucklord66. Give me money on fucking Patreon. You're an asshole for buying this. Peace out. Hey.